Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Blue Golf Ball here today with another Pokemon TCG online video. And today I have a deck that was suggested to us by Gabe5748. And he wanted to see a deck surrounding this guy, Drowzee from Furious Fists. The first attack, Sinister suggestion. Whenever your opponent flips a coin during his or her next turn, treat it as tails. And this deck is going to be built within the confines of the expanded format, and the main partner to Drowzee here is going to be Amoonguss, the 90 HP Grass-type Pokemon with the ability Spore Rise. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. And so this works out very well, poisoning our opponents and making them confused. And then in our next turn, with the 70 HP Psychic-type Pokemon, we use Sinister suggestion, and then my opponent would always flip tails. If they don't pay attention, they will always be hurting themselves, and that's the funny part, folks. And so we're going to try to make this combination work. Fungus here, I'm playing the one also from Next Destinies with Find a Friend. I opted to play this one because you never know. We can always try to find a friend and flip a coin and be able to search for a Pokemon. We will be playing one Shaman EX with setup just for consistency, and actually works pretty well. I do like having Shaman here, and it helps out quite a bit to be a little more consistent. We'll be playing a 2-2 line of Skrelp with Drowzee. So the plan here is to prevent our opponent from retreating. Since we're only poisoning our opponent anyways, with Poison Berry here, our opponent can't retreat. So they're stuck in the active spot, confused and poisoned, and the only way around it is switch or a Keldeo to rush in and retreat, or Sparkling Robe, or Verzian, and or it could be Slurpuff, preventing special conditions, or it could be something like Steel Shelter, or it can be a lot of stuff. All right, so this deck has a lot of holes, but when you pull it off, it's pretty fun. But again, it's got a lot of holes. Your opponent can evolve, that removes special conditions. You could use a full heal, right? That removes special conditions. Something like Wonder Energy, right? If our opponent is playing a fairy deck and they have Wonder Energy, all right, it doesn't work anymore. Nothing works. We can't Sporize. It ain't gonna work if they have the Wonder Energy already. So lots of things can trip this deck up. I'm warning you. Yeah. So, anyways, I think this deck is fun. It's just a silly deck, but I like silly decks, and this definitely tickles my fancy. So, onto the item cards and whatnot. We have De-Evolution Spray. Again, this is back from Dragon's Exaltus. This is also rotated out. You can de-evolve one of your Pokemon and put the highest stage evolution card back into your hand. Works just beautifully with Amoonguss. So I think that's pretty nice. We'll have Level Ball, 4 of these. A lot of our Pokemon, everything but Shaman EX is 90 HP or less. I forgot. Also, Drowzee is 100 HP. So 4 Level Balls can get most of the Pokemon. We got Professor's Letter. Only 7 energy in this deck, so Professor's Letter helps to ensure that we can search out at least 2 more energy cards, and so we can survive for the next turn, things like that. Scoop Up Cyclone is going to be the aspect of choice. I thought this is just, a better... It's not as consistent as a computer search, but it's really nice to be able to scoop things up and not have to worry about flipping, which I mentioned a little bit. We have Stun on the Megaphone, one of these, and Super Rod, one of these as well. Since this is expanded, we don't always have to play License Jump cards. Sometimes we can just Super Rod a couple of the cards that we actually need and that we don't use their supported for the turn. We have Super Scoop Up, 4 of these. I do have to flip a coin, but if heads, then it works exactly the same as Scoop Up Cyclone. Which is spectacular. It works very well for Shaman, and it works very well for Amoonguss. To be able to play and then evolve again, it works just the same thing as a De-Evolution Spray. We have the Switch here, because their Pokemon are kind of heavy. Well, more like the Amoonguss is heavy, but and Drowzee is pretty heavy too. Got Ultra Ball, 3 of these, and 3 VS Seekers. That's it for the item cards. Let's take a look at the supporter. We got 1 AZ, and so I play this mostly because you never know, right? Could be you could be in a scenario where you just can't. Let's say Seismitoad hits you, and you can't play any item cards. you can still at least use AZ. Maybe even pick up Shaman. I don't know. Most likely, maybe to pick up Mungus and then Spore Rise again and slow down the Seismitoad a little bit. Not too sure, right? So that's where we got AZ, 1 Colress, 1 Lysander, 1 Lysander Trump card. Again, Trump card is rotating out very soon. Not rotating out, but getting banned. Even worse. Getting banned pretty soon. We got 3 of these, 1 Professor Birch's Observations, and 3 Junipers. That's it for the support line. And we got 3 Verbank City Gems, 1 Foltstone, and 7 Psychic Energy. Now, this deck is a little bit different from Gabe's 5748, the deck list that he gave me. I thought I tweaked it a little bit. And kind of went with this approach. A couple things. Sometimes I didn't really need to use Super Rod, so in his list there wasn't a Super Rod. I'll give him that. And also Professor's Letter. There's a number of times where I didn't have any energy cards, or I probably needed 2 of them. It would have been really good to have 2 of them. The math works out very well with Ultra Ball sometimes to be able to discard 1, play Professor's Letter, get 2 cards instead, and then Ultra Ball. So there's kind of those kind of scenarios too. I've chosen to play only 3 De-Evolution Sprays instead of 4, and again, the other list has 3 Hypnotoxic Lasers. I opted not to play any lasers, and kind of just rely on Spore Rise. And so that's it for the deck. Hopefully we get some pretty good matches here. Let's take a look and check out this deck in action on Pokemon TCG Online. All right, and we're going to be playing against ZS Nemesis Z. And looks to me like we will be going first, and that's what we like to do. That way we can evolve first. And oh, hey, looks like we're just going to be playing against a modified basic fighting deck. So it seems, but you never know what my opponent can have. Could be a variety of different things, and hopefully it's weak to Psychic. Maybe, I don't know. But I think I did see, I'm not sure what that fighting Pokemon was. But we're going to start off with the Fungus here. We don't have the best of hands right now. We're going against a Timber. And let's just go for the Scralp. In the next turn, we can evolve into the Drowzee and then even play a Juniper. So I will end the turn. It's a bit of a bummer. We do have the Scoop Up Cyclone. We can see Timber right there. Can hit us for 10. We will survive the turn. Unless my opponent's got a Hypnotoxic Laser plus Muscle Band, that would do the job. But we just see a... looks like the Pokemon Fan Club. My opponent's going to be able to get 2 more Pokemon onto the bench for his side of the field. And Timber here can still get that Muscle Band plus Laser. You never know what can happen, and we would lose our Fungus right away. Yeah, this looks like it's just a basic fighting deck of some sort. So we get hit for the 10, and let's go with the Hypnotoxic Laser. Now, if I'm feeling pretty gambling. Yeah, let's go with the Colress. And hey, look at that, we did get these. Wow, what a lucky top deck. So lucky we got that Shaman there. Was able to get some more Pokemon. And I'm gonna take a chance here. I'm gonna go and try to find a friend, and instead of retreating. So if we flip tails, hey, we flip tails. Otherwise, we couldn't get knocked out here, and we flip tails. Again, my opponent can play a Muscle Band plus another Energy Drop that would finish us off. Or if it's just a energy drop, we get hit for 20, we'll actually survive the turn. Can you believe that? We actually survived 2 hits. We survived 2 turns with a Fungus at 40 HP. That is incredible. I would never expect to see that. And there is the energy drop. We could have seen a strong energy too, by the way. But no, we just see the regular energy. And let's go. We could play the trump card, but let's go for the Professor Birch. And we got the Super Scoop Up. Let's go and see if we can scoop this Shaman up here. And might as well play the Float Stone. Perhaps we can play it onto the Drowzee. Since we already have an energy onto the Fungus, we can just do, pay the retreat cost. Now, this is looking pretty good. I'm going to play the retreat cost, and let's go for the level ball. Let's get the Amoonguss here. And I'm going to go ahead and just play right there and poison and confuse with the Spore Rise. It was such a surprise that they got confused. You get it? Yeah, okay, fine. All right, so we go ahead. We're going to go with that Sinister suggestion. and if my opponent chooses to attack, it's going to be a guaranteed tails, and they'll just hurt themselves in their confusion. So feeling pretty lucky here. We were able to pull this off by turn 3, and it's not ideal. Preferably would like to get this done in turn 2. Being able to evolve, which is pretty impressive, right? To be able to evolve both the Drowzee and the Amoonguss in turn 2, and to kind of just get this lock going right away. Again, this doesn't work very well against like full heals, right? Or Sparkling Robe, Steel Shelter. Doesn't work very well with Virizion. Does not work very well with healing kind of decks. Now, and there it is. My opponent chose to attack and flips tails. It's a guaranteed tails. Nothing you can do about it. Everything on my opponent's side of the field, including like lasers and everything, it's all tails. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna play the energy onto the Shaman EX. Let's go ahead and perhaps we'll discard one of the Drowzees and maybe even the Ultra Ball. Here we can get another Amoonguss out here, and we can Sporize once again. And that way, let's just go for the Sinister Suggestion. Coming back into our turn, it would be a knockout on this my opponent's Pokemon here. So, feeling pretty good. I mean, I don't know. This is not, I don't think this is a very competitive deck that I'm playing against. And I will for sure play another match then. That way we can get at least a more competitive battle going here. I'm no disrespect against my opponent, but I think I've sometimes the random match setup, whatever the algorithms they have, some other players out there that may not have all the cards that they need to build the deck that they want, isn't there. So perhaps that's the case. Let's go ahead. We're going to play the AZ for the Amoonguss, and I'm going to go with the Scoop Up Cyclone. Let's go with the AZ on the Shaman, and we'll draw some more. I did that way. That way we didn't have to have more cards in our hand, right? So that's the route that I took. And we're just going to go ahead and hit for 20. And perhaps take 3 turns to do the job. Why not? We're not in that much of a hurry here. It doesn't look like my opponent really has much going for him. And we got a couple stadium. We got a stadium counter. We got the Amoonguss here as well. My opponent is powering up his bench right there. We could easily Lysander him out, and I think that's definitely an option. But we're gonna take it slow. We're just go with the Psy Shot and hit for 20. And you gotta wait and see. We got another Drowzee on the bench, ready to go. If my opponent somehow retreats or something like that, I want to save the Lysander to give us more options, and that's kind of the opportunity that I'm looking for. Let's go for the Lysander trump card, getting back all of our resources right there, which is super cheap. And again, it's going to get banned soon, so it's a bit of a bummer. But the Reganola, I can never pronounce that guy. We have a Mienfoo over there. We can see it evolve into a Mienshao. Oh, that's another thing. This deck does not work very well with evolutions. And so if my opponent is able to evolve, all special conditions is gone, right? So, I mentioned that in the analysis already. So, yeah, I mean, here we go. My opponent can definitely get a knockout here. Yeah, just take care of business on this poor Drowzee. We were able to knock out the other guy with taking 3 turns. And here is a Dumbledore. I don't know. Gumbledore, is that? I'm not a Harry Potter fan, or I don't know where that's from, anyways. There is the Drowzee getting knocked out. We'll go ahead. We'll just promote the Drowzee with the free retreat. And here comes the Super Scoop Up. Failed to do that, but I'll go ahead and play the evolution there. Now, I want to get at least one more Fungus backed up. That's the problem here. So let's go ahead. We'll just get this Fungus here. That's why I want to play the Super Scoop Up. See if we can actually scoop up the Amoonguss on the right over there. But this is going to be the route that we're going to end up taking. I could play an N, but I'm just going to go ahead and Juniper everything away. And we get the Amoonguss. That's actually pretty cool. And let's go ahead. We'll just play the retreat. Play an energy on the Shaman. In case we may have to use a Sky Return perhaps someday. I'm not sure. But again, this Boldor here is locked up in a sense. Unless my opponent does evolve here, then we're going to be forced to play the Among Us, and so this is where it gets a little tricky. Oh, my opponent heals. Okay. If my opponent chooses to attack, then that's going to be 50 damage in between phases, 30 from the poison and the 20 from the confusion damage. And I gotta wait and see. Does my opponent actually choose to attack? And that'd be great for us. My opponent chooses to attack, and oh, it's actually 30. I forgot. So my opponent's got 60 damage, 30 from the poison, and 30 from the confusion. Let's go for the super scoop up. We failed right there. Super scoop up again. We fail again, and that's about it. I'm gonna hang on to my hand. It looks pretty good. And we have a lot of flexibility to get Pokemon out or discard some cards that we don't necessarily need. And we can definitely get the Among Us out into play. That'd be pretty good. Once we do that, then, well, I mean, it's pretty much just continue to just suggest sinisterly. And Sinister suggestion is this is a very sinister Drowzee. He's a very... yeah, you don't want them to be eating your dreams here, folks. They eat dreams, especially kids. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Drowzee maybe, or Hypno. Oh no, not Hypno. They're probably eating my dreams. And there it is. My opponent concedes the match. Oh yes, and we didn't even get to play the last Among Us. You can see right there, 60 damage dealt. That's from all the Drowzees. 5 tails flipped. Oh my goodness. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to play one more. Again, I don't think that deck was very competitive. And let's go ahead and check this out here on Pokemon TCG Online. We can play against Bad Omen. And get it, Bad Omen. Let's not go there. Anyways, we're going to get an opportunity to go first again. That is spectacular. Going first is always just a great scenario. And we see here my opponent mulligan, we mulligan as well, and we mulligan on the time, so my opponent will be able to draw one more extra card. Our Drowzee is in the active spot. We also get an Among Us, and might as well play the energy there. Ooh, it's a Crobat. Oh, not sure how I feel about that, but let's go ahead. We're going to play the Shaman out here, and we do have the Juniper, which we can play. And there's that. So, you know what? Oh, darn it. I ended the turn. I should have played a Lysander's trump card. Trump carding back my stuff, but it's a little bit of a misclick right there. Should have. I think I'm sorry, folks. It's okay. We're gonna end up discarding the Lysander trump card anyways. We can always trump card that thing back, and we don't necessarily need more of the Ultra Ball and things like that back into our deck anyways. And while my opponent's getting a lot of things going here, we see more bats. We see a Latios EX. Oh, so that's going to be a Latios and Bats deck. We get hit for a Hypnotoxic Laser. And wow, look at these plus powers, huh? Since we are, in fact, in expanded format, my opponent can play some plus powers. And oh, there is the Double Dragon Energy. And here is a Muscle Band as well. So my opponent's getting a lot of different things going on here. And, oh, we even see a Trainer's Mail. There's a ton of item cards. My opponent's just blowing through these item cards and whatnot. We see Roller Skates, Flipping Heads, Trainer's Mail, Hypnotoxic Lasers, and Verbank City Gym, Super Scoop Ups, Hitting Tails. Lots of flippy stuff going on here. We got Scoop Ups and Roller Skates. My opponent gets that Retreat. And we very well could see a Knockout right here. And there it is. There is the Knockout hitting for that fast raid. And we'll promote the Shaman. You know what? Let's see if we can kind of stall my opponent for a little bit. Let's play the Dragology and force my opponent to not to be able to retreat at all. And oh man, this is not good. We could play the Devolution Spray per se. I wouldn't mind playing a Scoop Up Cyclone on the Shaman EX either. But if anything, we might just end the turn. I mean, I have an N, and I have a Birch for the next turn, also via Seeker. So, you know, we're just going to end the turn. If my opponent attacks, and let's just hope my opponent flips Tails. That would be really nice. Oh, my opponent gets a Roller Skates and flips Heads. We see a Super Scoop Up that flips Tails on that. Thank goodness my opponent could have played that Super Scoop Up on the Latios EX. But we see a Lysander trump card in the discard pile. And a Jirachi as well, so that's kind of interesting. 3 bats are on my opponent's side of the field, and that means my opponent can start attacking my Dragology or Among Us. and that's gonna be fun. We see another scoop up, but that failed as well. We see an acro bike. Wow, there's just so many items in this deck. Items galore everywhere items. And all right, so see if my opponent plays a Hypnotoxic Laser as well. And there goes the Shaman. We can always use the Scoop Up Cyclone to deal with those poisons, but or just the Super Scoop Up, yeah, instead of the Scoop Up Cyclone. But here is another double Dragon Energy. My opponent's ready to knock us out. We could see a Fast Raid, or we could see the what is it, the Dragon Pulse or something like that. And more bats galore. My opponent is targeting the Drowzee on the bench. And we even see a Recycle. My opponent playing that for the Super Scoop Up, putting that back onto the top of my opponent's deck. And oh my goodness, more bats, all targeting the poor Drowzee. Drowzee is already at 60 HP left, 40 damage on from the two bats and their bites. And that means my opponent has 2 Crowbats on the next turn. That'll be done. That'll be it for the Drowzee. So we gotta watch out for that. It's gonna be kind of nerve-wracking to deal with. We do get the N, which we can end my opponent. My opponent would get 5 cards anyway. Or let's go for the Scoop Up Cycle. Maybe the Super Scoop Up on the Shaman. Let's go with the Devolution Spray. Probably should have done that last turn, but that's all right. Excuse me. And I guess we're going to just go for the N, I think. Oh my goodness, what a terrible way to end. I probably should have just played the Super Scoop Up, but I think our Shaman's going to go down for the count, unless my opponent flips tails again. We're going to have to wait and see. My opponent here, we are at 60. My opponent is also at 60, or is at 50. So we're both at 50 apiece. My opponent can actually knock out the Shaman. And I wouldn't know what to promote. Maybe we can just promote another Fungus since we got 4 of them. Oh my goodness. Definitely got to start buying a couple turns. We even see a Crowbat hit the field. The Crowbat here can knock out the Shaman with another Golbat. And it looks like my opponent's going to be targeting the Shaman EX without my opponent even using any of the attacks from the Latios EX. We even see the Lysandre's Trump card get put back into my opponent's hand from the VS Seeker. And there is the Trump card. Oh, that is a bit of a bummer. I wish I could have used the VS Seeker to get my Juniper or something like that. But you know what? That's okay. So let's see here. Well, ooh, that's it. So my opponent bats his way through and is able to take out the Shaman. So we are definitely trailing right now. My opponent having 3 prizes taken already. But we're going to find a way. Let's go for the Ultra Ball here. I'm going to get the Drowzee. And that way we can attempt to start attacking. Let's go with the Professor Birch's observation. You're even able to flip for heads. And so the only problem here is that we didn't get a single energy drop, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just take the Scralp. And that way we can take away the damage as well. And hopefully my opponent doesn't get Crowbats coming in here attacking the Scralp. But hey, look at that. We even get an Amoonguss off the prizes. The Fungus here will get knocked out. My opponent can just play 2 Golbats, and that can actually knock out the Fungus here. Or it can actually play a Crowbat and a Golbat. I mean, did I say 2 Crowbats? I meant 2 Golbats. So there's 1 Golbat probably targeting the Fungus that's in the active spot. My opponent can actually play that right there and finish off the poor Fungus. I'm going to go ahead and promote the other Fungus here. We do have a switch in hand, so I'm not too worried. If my opponent doesn't knock out this Fungus, we can at least switch it and play an N and try to get 1 energy card. And that way we can start locking my opponent. My opponent's only down to 2 prizes. Is there any way we can make a comeback here? I'm not sure. But if we can knock out another Latios, we can actually tie the game in prizes here. My opponent's got more item cards. We see Trainer's Mail, Roller Skates left and right. Another Trainer's Mail. Trainer's Mail. Mail time. Mail time. If you guys are from, if you guys know Blue's Clues. But yeah, that was kind of weird. Okay, so we see the Love Ball. And yeah, looks like we saw the retreat. My opponent can actually knock this guy out with a Fast Raid. We have yet to see any of these Spirit Links. Did I see a Spirit Link before? I couldn't remember. But either way, we're just dealing with a bunch of these Latioses. And yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. We see a lot of Scoop Ups here. And my opponent is just going through his deck like crazy. We even see a Computer Search discarding a couple of things. And my opponent's going to go for another Super Scoop Up, and it's Tails again. Wow, my opponent is cursed. to get all tails. I think Lady Luck is shining on our side here, folks. And we are getting lucky. Poor little Moongus gets knocked out right there, but lucky for us, we got everything we need here. We'll poison and confuse, locking up this Latios here. All we need now is all we need. Oh man, we just need energy. Okay, so let's thin out the deck a little bit. Let's take out another Drowzee here. We even get these super scoop up, got the evolution spray. But let's go for the end, and look at that. We were able to get it, and we even get an Amoonguss as well. That is spectacular. We can tie the game in a couple turns with the poison damage. My opponent right now can play and try to attack, but it will fail. It will be a tails. It will always be a tails. And actually, I don't know. Is there any way to cancel that? I mean, I think this is an effect on the player. You know, it's not on the Pokemon, so you can't just rush in and retreat. And there it is. My opponent tried to attack, but flipped tails. Oh man, my opponent is down to 1 card. I'm just gonna keep my hand. I think you know, we never know what my opponent's gonna top deck, but I'm just gonna sit on this hand and until my opponent gets more cards in his hand, I'm just gonna go ahead and play N again, I guess. But we are looking pretty good, and let's go for that poison and confusion. I'm going for the. We could go for a Lava Ball, perhaps, and that way we can get another Drowzee going. Just having a backup there. We don't have any more Foongusses since both of them they were knocked out, 2 out of the 4, and so. Really quick skim through the deck. We're looking pretty healthy here. Nothing too concerning. And I mean, we got at least 1 more VS Seeker, I think. Is that right? So we can always Lysander's trump card. And so let's go for the Juniper. Look at that. We even get a Super Rod. Let's go for the de-evolution spray. And let's get back the Foongus and even the Shaman. That's kind of nice. Let's go and play the energy here. And let's go for the Sinister Suggestion. And my opponent here can try to attack again, but I think my opponent may have learned his lesson from trying to attack on a Sinister Suggestion. And there it is. My opponent plays a Recycle, was Tails. My opponent has a Drowzee, able to get a perhaps even a Chorus. That would be pretty cool. Or my opponent can get a Juniper, but it's strange. My opponent didn't get anything, and we are pretty much set to go here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just keep doing Sinister Suggestion. Excuse me. I'm thinking, yeah. Let's see here. Well, we could probably shot too. Maybe calculating right now. With the Verbank City Gem, my opponent can actually get knocked out in between phases, and come back into our turn, the Crobat will get knocked out. So it actually worked into our favor. If we didn't do that, then I think my opponent would have gotten knocked out from poison damage going back into his turn. So now it's our turn. We can go ahead and play the Amoonguss and put this guy back. Poison confused. Oh shucks, I messed up. I could have played the Lysander and brought out the Zubat, and then use the Amoonguss. Now, let's just kind of cross our fingers. Hopefully, my opponent doesn't snipe the Foongus, but I'm going to go ahead and use the de-evolution spray. We're going to hang on to the Lysander, and let's just go for a Sinister Suggestion in the next turn. If my opponent doesn't play N, we will win the game in the next turn. So my opponent plays a VS Seeker for what? And it's a Lysander's trump card. My opponent's only at 8 cards. We are at 22. My opponent plays a Lysander's trump card, which is good. At least it wasn't an N. My opponent even gets a Bicycle. Wow. So many item cards everywhere. And technically, my opponent can actually play a Crobat and a Golbat, and that would actually knock out the Foongus. And that would ruin my entire plan, really. But we do have a level ball. We can get another Foongus going. And that's it. It is GG. I'm going to let my opponent know. GG, friend. And let's just go ahead. We will Lysander out this little Zubat. And do this right there, and side shot for the win, hitting for 20. Wow, we just got a win. Oh my goodness, we were able to lock my opponent a number of times. My opponent flipped tails and hurt himself in the confusion. Guaranteed tails this Sinister Suggestion. Oh, this is fantastic. Drowzee MVP. My opponent flipped 16 tails. That is insane. How do you flip 16 tails? Wow, that is incredible. But anyways, look at that. 40 damage dealt. Biggest attack was only 20. Oh, that is hilarious. My opponent was able to put a lot of damage out there on that. A lot. But in comparison, 300 more than what we did. And percentage-wise, that's quite a bit. We only played 16 trainers. My opponent played 55. Wow, that's crazy. He drew 93 cards. We only drew 69. But hey, that was a fun game. That was a great match. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. You guys all take care. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Goodbye.